But I want to just for a minute look at a couple of the on the merits aspects of it, which I don't think have been fully thought through. How can a compensation package that is contingent, it's a contingency, is contingent upon goals being reached that are seen by everyone, including the New York Times and everybody else that had an opinion on it, as impossible to achieve, be unfair to the company or the stockholders? It would seem like this would be on its face, as we say in the law, it would be on its face impossible to be unfair if everyone who looked at it said it was impossible to reach.
Right. Doesn't pass the common sense test. Also, what is this trying to get into the minds of tens of thousands of shareholders and trying to understand what they knew or what they didn't know? What they knew is what the compensation plan was. It was written. It was documented. It was available to read. So to me, it's that plan. It's the milestones. It's the understanding of it, and it's the voting on it. Where somebody went to dinner with who, to me, that's not as important. If I didn't see the plan, I was just like, Elon's getting a compensation plan, it's milestone based, and, just, vote on it because, he should be the CEO. That's one thing. But, that plan was published, documented, was written about, like you said, by the New York Times, reviewed on multiple TV shows. There were economists involved. There were, professors involved in crafting this. And again, like, we saw the plan. It's not like we didn't see the plan. So I honestly, I'm indifferent in terms of the relationships thing. Maybe something for the company to deal with in terms of, as each director comes up for a vote, that's how it's dealt with. Okay. But in terms of like this situation, having a documented compensation plan, as you said, with milestones that were very difficult to 10x the company and to do it ahead of plan, it feels anti-capitalistic, un-American that, this is not resolved in a way that, where the parties are kind of unaffected. Elon's an asset that has a value in the marketplace. He's got a self-value of himself. Like, where should I be spending my time if I'm Elon? Should I be at Neuralink, for this amazing cause and what they're trying to drive and do? Should I be at XAI, plotting out the future and executing on the future of AI? Or should I, how much time at SpaceX? He's got all these different options where they're trying to pull from him and take him off the market. And there's some compensation plan tied to all of those different things. So Tesla needs to compete, for his time and to make sure that they have enough of it to execute on their goals. So that's why tying the milestones to it's all self-fulfilling. So, I mean, I'm okay with the suggestion from Gary, but I'd rather just focus on getting the new plan that ties him up going forward in a meaningful way that works for him and the shareholders and the company.
Yeah, my theory would be to put them both out at the same time. So you're going to have your stockholders meeting. You're going to have your shareholders meeting. After that, you could have the vote, and you could be voting on both plans. You could be voting on reinstating the previous plan as well as instituting the new plan. And I'm not as worried as some that it's going to be so hard to constitute a new plan. I think that even the errors that she points out are correctable, even with a really monster plan. It's just that if it's a really monster plan, I think that she finally came down. If my understanding, looking at the total picture, you can say it was fair on its face, and you would never have to address anything else. But if you decide that it might not be fair on its face, now you have to look at how was it arrived at. That was her second step. Once you've looked at how it was arrived at, you go, boy, I don't like the way it was arrived at in terms of the board, how much time they spent, how deeply they went, how much real negotiation took place. Those were the things that she considered. And she said, all of that was wrong, that it was egregious to begin with, and everything that the board did was wrong. Well, okay, if all that's true, she says you could still take it to the minority shareholders, but that when they did that, the minority shareholders were not properly informed. So I think there's a real good chance you could take a big plan and you could still put that out there as long as you make sure that all of those little boxes are checked off before you as you do it.
Yeah, there's some logic to it. I mean, the prior plan was basically a 10x from 60 billion, and the next plan could be an 8 to 10x to whatever 5 to 6 trillion, and there's some logic and there's some symmetry in putting them both out there. I agree.
All right. Well, what do you think about the move to Texas? I think that sounds it just sounds knee-jerk. I think that when you decide where you're going to incorporate, there's so many different tax issues, so many different other kinds. There's a million issues that go into. I've had to make that decision a number of times in my life, and there's a bunch of issues. I think moving to Texas may be a great idea, but it needs to be a package of reasons to make that move.
Yeah, I agree. And one of the questions comes up is, if you stay in Delaware, are you subject to more opportunities for this to occur? And is it going to go to the same, judge who's, again, I'm not going to argue the merits of each case, but I mean, she's been involved in cases of about $100 billion of his money,
right,
and ruled not in favor of him in both times. So the question is how long do you, as somebody who, is allocating that much capital out there, how long do you want to stay there? What's the next case? And how do you protect yourself? And it's not just a location change, and more in general, like how do you protect yourself? So yeah, it could be more knee jerk, or hopefully somebody's kind of got the pros and cons of each one lined up, and there's some sort of merit scoring of the various options.
If you happen to be a big fan of the Cybertruck, you might also be interested in this super fun Cybertruck refrigerator magnet and bottle opener. It is made out of super thick stainless steel, just like the Cybertruck, and it has this giant magnet on the back, so it's going to hold a lot of stuff on your refrigerator. It's an amazing gift, and it comes in that great gift box that you saw before that uses a magnet opener, just almost like an Apple box, like when you get Apple products. You can buy it on Amazon for $29.95, or you can buy it direct from me by sending $25 to paypal.me/Randy Kirk, all in lowercase letters. Please indicate whether you want the stainless steel look, or maybe you'd like to have this very clever camo version. And then if you're not in the US, please add $20 for freight. If you'd like more than one, please check the information below to get pricing, as well as all that information I just told you will be repeated in the information below. So once again, think about joining the channel, getting the up-to-date Tesla news every single day. I think you'll be glad you did.